Boy, howdy, is air travel ever tough this summer. Between limited staff, extreme summer weather, and pilot strikes, there's a good chance that your flight might get delayed or even canceled this summer. Today, I'm going to go over 10 tips that you can use when planning your travel in anticipation of delays or cancellations, and what to do if your flight does get delayed or canceled. Let's go. Hey y'all, and welcome. If you're new here, I'm Christi, the Gen X Gypsy, helping you to travel better so you can focus on creating unforgettable memories. And welcome to my summer Alaska office here in our tiny little RV. I want to apologize in advance if you hear any external noises. We are in an RV park. It's a little loud, but this is the best that I can do for now. And I'm in Alaska. If you caught my video from a couple of weeks ago, you'll know that I experienced some delays and ended up missing a flight due to that delay. Luckily, it all worked out fine for me because I did plan my trip in anticipation of issues coming up like delays or cancellations. My first tip is to schedule long layovers. Now, my flight had an 11-hour layover, and partially I did that because I saved about $500. But also, I knew that flights were getting delayed and canceled already in early June. So I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of a cushion, and thank goodness I did. Because I missed that flight to Dallas, I was able to get on standby for the first flight the next morning, and I still made it on time for my flight to Alaska. So I would encourage you to look at scheduling a little bit of a cushion layover wherever you can for your flights. My second tip is to book early morning flights. Yes, I know getting up at 3 a.m. sucks, but those 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. flights, well, they're rarely canceled or delayed. And if they are, it happens so early in the day that you have the whole day to hopefully work on getting on another plane to get you to your destination. Third, if you are traveling somewhere for a specific event, like a wedding or a graduation or even a funeral, make sure to pad a couple of extra days at that beginning of the trip. I know it might cost you a little bit extra in accommodations, but if that's what it cost you to not miss your son's wedding, it's worth it in the end. This year especially, I would pad a couple of extra days getting to your destination. My fourth tip is to not book on those third-party websites like Expedia or Tripwire or Kayak or any of those, you know what I'm talking about. Because if your flight gets delayed or canceled, it is a lot more difficult to go through their customer service to get that corrected than dealing with the airline directly. And unfortunately, those third-party websites have a propensity for booking you on two different airlines. So if one airline is on time and the other one is delayed or canceled, you really don't have much of a choice, and it can become a big travel nightmare. So book directly on the airline that you want to fly. Personally, I've found that most of the time I can find very similar fares by going straight to the airline's website anyway. Number 5. Get yourself some trip or travel insurance. This is especially true if you are flying somewhere to get on a cruise or a group tour. A flight delay or cancellation could easily make you miss your departure time or even date for that cruise or tour. I have linked below a resource that you can use to find the best travel insurance for your situation. So if you are going on a trip this summer, you might want to check it out, because paying, $100 to $200 extra to protect the investment that you've already made in your vacation, it's well worth it. My sixth tip is to get to the airport early. Remember that your departure time is the time the plane is actually going to be taking off of the tarmac, not the time that you need to be getting to your gate. You need to pay attention to the boarding time on your boarding pass and then work backwards from that time to determine how early you need to get to the airport. Also remember that just like the airlines, the TSA is very short-staffed this summer. And if you need a refresher on how to get through TSA faster, I will link that video at the end of this video. I'll also have it in the description below. You want to make sure that you are at the airport at least 2 hours before your boarding time, not your departure time, in order to be able to make it through TSA, check in your bags, get to your gate, make sure the gate hasn't changed. Also, the earlier you're there, if something does happen to your flight, the faster you can get it taken care of and get things resolved so that you can continue to travel. If you're flying internationally, I would give yourself 2.5 to 3 hours because check-in can take a little bit longer for those international flights. Tip number 7 is to download the airlines app for the airline that you're going to be flying. If you have the app downloaded, they'll be able to notify you quickly about gate changes or if your flight's been delayed or canceled. It'll also hold your boarding passes there and many other things. You'll want to make sure that you have the app downloaded and your trip uploaded into that app before you leave for the airport. Now, let's talk about what to do if your flight gets delayed or canceled when you are at the airport. The first thing you want to do when you've been notified that your flight has been canceled, or perhaps it's been delayed and it's going to affect your other flights for the day, is to get in line to talk to the customer service rep. I know that sounds like the most obvious thing to do, but you'd be surprised a lot of people aren't really sure. Get in that line. While you're in the line waiting to talk to the customer service rep, go ahead and call the airline's customer service line too. You never know, you might be able to get through to the customer service on the phone faster than you work through the line to get to talk to the customer service rep. Lately, the waits have been 1 hour to 2 hours, so it may not be a faster way to go, but at least you can feel like you're doing something while you're waiting in line. The second thing to do is to go ahead and start looking up other flight options for where you need to go. Sometimes because these systems are so antiquated that the airlines are using, it can take them a while to kind of filter through and find the existing flights, where it's a lot easier for you to look it up online. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy that the system for you to book your ticket is so much more up to date than the actual systems that the airlines use themselves. Maybe one of these days they'll get it fixed. But if you have a couple of options already at hand when you get to the customer service rep, it might make things go a little bit faster for them to help find you a flight to get on next. One note here is what the airlines actually owe you if your flight is delayed or canceled. The only time the airline is required to give you vouchers for food or accommodations or anything else that impacts you because of the delay or cancellation is if it's due to something that's supposedly within the airline's capability of taking care of, like a mechanical issue. Now, if the flight's delayed or canceled because of weather or any other issues, then they don't really owe you anything. Now, there is a whole customer service bill of rights for airlines, and I will link that below so you could check it out. It'd make for some pretty good reading when you're sitting at the airport waiting for your flight. Finally, if you are really pressed for time to get to your destination and it's less than 7 or 8 hours away, you might consider driving, whether you're driving from your own hometown or you're at a layover stop and you need to rent a car. It might not be a bad way to go. Just like the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's good to consider all of the options. And I'd like to remind you to please be polite and respectful to the airline employees. It's not their fault that the flight has gotten delayed or canceled, and they are truly trying to help get you to your destination as fast as they can. They're extremely limited with what they can do, so Be patient with them, and remember you're all in this together. Kindness goes a long, long way. If you'd like a helpful list on things to pack in your personal carry-on item to help get you through those cancellations or long delays, check out this video next. And as promised, if you'd like a refresher on how to get through that TSA security line faster, check out this video next. Thanks you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.